I want to talk about closure. Now, one of the biggest lies people believe is this: I cannot move on until I get closure. That is a lie. So they wait for the apology, for the explanation, for the accountability, and sometimes it never comes. Some of you are waiting for closure from people who are emotionally incapable of giving it to you. You are waiting for them to finally understand how deeply they hurt you, waiting for them to acknowledge the damage, waiting for the apology, the explanation, the moment where they finally say, I see what I did. But the painful truth is this: some people do not have the emotional maturity, self-awareness, or accountability to fully confront the pain they caused you. Period. And while you keep waiting for them to become who they never become, your life stays emotionally tied to the wound. Your peace stays delayed. Your healing stays postponed. Your future stays connected to a moment that already broke you once. And what makes this even more painful is some of you built entire emotional prisons around the hope that one conversation would finally free you. You replay scenarios in your head. You imagine that what you would say if they finally listened to you. You think if they would just admit it, then maybe I could move on. But hear me carefully. Your healing cannot be dependent on somebody else's awareness, because your peace requires another person's apology, accountability, or validation. You hand them continued authority over your emotional life. And some of you are emotionally exhausted because you are still mentally arguing with people who have already moved on while you are carrying the weight of what they left behind. And let me say something even harder. Some of you are not just attached to the wound. You are attached to the fantasy that one day the person who hurt you will suddenly become emotionally safe enough to repair what they broke. But healing begins when you stop negotiating with reality. When you stop waiting for people to become who they repeatedly showed you they are not willing to become. That does not mean what happened did not matter. It does not mean the pain was small. It means you finally decide your future is too valuable to keep placing it in the hands of somebody who never learned how to hold your heart correctly in the first place. Hear me. Emotional intelligence teaching shows us closure is not always external. And that is the part many people struggle to accept. Sometimes closure is not a conversation, not an apology, not somebody finally admitting they hurt you. Many times closure is internal. It is the moment you stop fighting reality and finally tell yourself the truth. This happened to me. It hurt me deeply. I cannot change what they did, but I can decide what happens to me next. Emotional intelligence teaches you that healing begins when you stop placing your emotional future in the hands of people who never have the capacity to repair what they broke. Because if your peace depends on somebody else finally becoming accountable, aware, or emotionally mature, then your healing remains delayed every time they refuse to change. Period. And this is where so many people stay emotionally stuck. They confuse closure with validation. They believe if they would just admit it, then I can move on. But healing built on somebody else's accountability is unstable because your peace becomes dependent on their awareness. That is emotional captivity. It means another person still controls whether your heart rests or suffers. And some of you have spent years emotionally tied to people who have already moved on simply because you are still waiting for them to give you something they may never be capable of giving. But freedom begins when you stop negotiating with reality and accept this painful truth. Sometimes closure is not getting the apology. Sometimes closure is finally deciding you deserve peace even without it. Yeah, that part. This week, I need you to stop living in conversations that are no longer happening. Stop replaying what you should have said. Stop rehearsing imaginary confrontations in your head, hoping you can finally create the ending that gives you peace. Stop. Some of you are emotionally exhausting yourselves, reliving moments over and over, trying to mentally rewrite what already happened. But hear me clearly. Constantly replaying the wound does not heal it. It keeps your nervous system emotionally attached to it. And while your mind stays trapped in the past, your life struggles to fully move forward. Instead, I want you to ask yourself one hard question. What decision do I need to make even if I never get closure? Maybe the decision is to stop waiting for the apology. Maybe the decision is to accept that some people are not emotionally capable of giving you what you deserve. Maybe the decision is to finally release yourself from carrying the emotional weight of what they did. And let me be clear, acceptance is not approval. Acceptance is not saying what happened was okay. Acceptance is saying this happened, it hurt me, but I refuse to keep surrendering my peace, waiting for a different ending. That is emotional maturity. That is closure. Sometimes closure sounds like this. I may never get the apology, but I refuse to keep sacrificing my future waiting for it.